At the age of 13, 14, I had everything kids my age, especially young men my age, would have dreamed of having. Contract with Nike, playing for my country, training with the first team, my teachers asking for my autograph in school. But I used to come home sometimes and just have these deep moments where I just question myself. And I used to just think, if I become a footballer and get this and get the money and win the awards, and then what? So I had huge questions, but no huge answers. I was raised to be a good person, to believe in myself and to follow your dreams. And that I did. I was happy doing so, unfulfilled yet happy. But it got to a stage where I noticed one of the closest people to me completely change. One of my sisters in particular, she started to go down a very dark route, experimenting with witchcraft, tarot card reading, relationships with guys, clubbing, and all of a sudden it was like she was a brand new woman. That's the best way I can describe it. And I asked her, I said to her, Tara, what's happened to you now? Like, you're different. And she said, John, Jesus Christ has changed my life. And my initial reaction was to laugh, because I'd never had any reference in my life of this Jesus character changing anyone. I heard about him as a historical figure, maybe in RE lessons, but there was no sort of interaction with any understanding of him impacting people today. Even before having a conversation with my sister, I read it in the newspaper how Kaka won the Ballon d'Or and he gave the glory to this Jesus character. So I thought, yesterday Kaka's saying this, today my sister's saying this. Maybe if I go to church on Sunday, God can help me win the Ballon d'Or. And that was my thought process. If I've got my talent, my abilities, Jesus on top, this might be my ticket. So I went to church that Sunday with a desire for maybe a God to help me. Little did I know, I was going to encounter a message, the gospel message, that was far deeper than my career. And I had an encounter in that service, and the pastor was at the front, and he started to speak about the things of God and the gospel. And I can even sense it now while I'm sitting here. It's like I could view all of my sin I'd ever done, all of the ways I'd missed the mark. But in the midst of that, I just felt this love, this embrace that I'm not sure about this religion or this Bible, but if this Jesus character is who he says he is, I need him. And so the pastor invited us to the front, those who stood up. As a 13, 14-year-old, I just broke down in tears. And I said a very simple prayer. And that was the start of my new life. I really went from night to day, now actually sensing the change inside of my heart, where it was like my car was running on a different engine now. So my taste buds started to change. Things I used to struggle with, I started to hate those things. And I was exposed to the first team environment in football very quickly. So I made my debut for Crystal Palace at the age of 15. So, there'll be guys on the bus, like grown men, mortgages and families to look after, looking at, adult magazines on the bus, and I'll be there with my little Bible, like back to back with these guys. And so I think there was a boldness that God gave me quite early to really take a stance for what I believe in. And guys laughed at the beginning, but then they started to get curious and ask questions. As soon as you try to rely on your own strength, it runs out very quickly. I can tell you that from experience. Times I wanted to give up. You look at my life, I think, did I give my life to Jesus, never look back? No, I looked back many times. But then I realized it wasn't John Bostock sustaining John Bostock, it was the Lord. Yeah, my life has never been the same since.